In Malibu?
Yes.
Okay.
Does she also have a home in La Jolla?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is the name of the new album definitely called The Velvet Rope?
From that.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
This is Sharita Gaucher with the Repository in Canton, Ohio. Could you possibly describe the overall style of this album and how it differs from your previous effort?
Well, this one is more introspective. It's more of a self-examination, self-discovery.
Okay.
I've always, with each album that I've done, Control On, I've always written about what's in my heart, what's going on in my life at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And this follows that pattern. I don't think I could ever allow myself to write any other way. But it's just, it's the most personal album that I've done.
Okay.
To date. It's really what it is.
Okay. What are some of the topics that you cover on this particular album?
There's the topic of the celebration of sex once again, but to another level. There's the more so than anything. There's the topic of looking inward. You feeling special.
Mm-hmm.
Having that need. There's the topic of reaching your goals, knowing that whatever your heart desires, nothing can stop you.
Okay.
The struggle that I feel a lot of young kids have today, and that sense of wanting to belong, but yet someone tells you that you don't,
Mm-hmm.
and to go back where you've come from.
Okay.
Okay. Miss Jackson, hi. This is Shayna Peterson. I'm from the Philadelphia Tribune. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hi. My question is, what do you hope to give the fans with this project?
I hope it's thought-provoking for them. Every album that I've done, I like giving, I like sharing when I discover something, or even when I learn something about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I've gone to, it has nothing to do with turning 30.
Mm-hmm.
I should say it had nothing to do with turning 30.
Okay.
Because I'm 31
Right.
now. But it was just, I've always been the kind of person, and I know, I feel that a lot of people in the world are like this. I've always been able to push the pain aside.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's from my childhood, I've done it since I was a kid. So it was something natural for me.
Okay.
And also being in the business, they always tell you, you can't let the public see you like this.
Mm-hmm.
That's not being professional.
Right.
You don't go out there and let them see the pain on your face.
Exactly.
You give them the show, and they're not supposed to know anything that's going on in your personal life. And I sit here and I say, well, why not?
Okay.
That's what they can relate to more so than anything,
Right.
because we are all human.
Okay.
There's no difference. And for that reason, the things that I've gone through since the last album, it's been a lot of pain involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want people to know that they're not alone, because that's the way that I felt. And sometimes I felt like I was going crazy.
Right. Well, could you tell us some of that pain that you were going through?
I really don't want to really get into it because
Okay.
it's so personal, but a lot of it had to do with my childhood. A lot of it had to do with what I went through as a teenager, even as an adult. Just certain things that happen in your life that really affect you, that you feel that you've gotten over, or you never get over. You just
Right.
push it aside.
Carries on into adulthood.
Yeah, you push it. You push exactly. But then I feel when we hit a certain age, to stop from looking inward,
Mm-hmm.
we do things like, for instance, I think a lot of us have children because we don't want to answer those questions that start popping up, that rise, in our heads. So we do something to get rid of that. So what do? We focus on having children. We have children. That takes how many years? 18 years. I mean, you have to, your whole life, you live, eat, and breathe this child.
Right.
And then when they're gone, how old are you? When they finally move out, what, 40-something, 50? then you look at your shit.
Right.
Yeah, you look at yourself, and you have to deal with it then, I feel. Or you find another way to deal with it. But, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Was that frightening for you all your life you pushed away this pain, and all of a sudden you stopped and looked at it? Was that a frightening thing for you?
Oh, hell yeah, it was frightening. Because the pain got worse. I wanted to know what it was. I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. Like I said, I thought I was going crazy. It got worse when I said, I'm going to take this on, just head on, just go for it, and it got worse.
So do you use the music and the dance to overcome those obstacles?
It was very therapeutic. Dancing is. It's a way of expression for myself.
We can tell.
Same as music is.
Okay.
But at the same time, like I said, this was the hardest album that I ever had to do because there were times, it took me 6 months to actually record the album. I feel like it's taken me 31 years to make this album.
Wow.
That's a good quote.
I'm sorry. There were times when I had to walk away from the microphone because I was in tears from what I had written, trying to sing it, and I'd have to come back a few days later and tackle it.
Well, since you feel so passionate about this album, is there another Black Cat type effort where you wrote and composed all of the music?
Yes.
Okay. How many songs do you?
We did 20 songs.
Okay.
I wrote 20 songs.
Wow.
But we only put, 17 on the album? This is horrible. I should know this. 17 or 16. I believe there's 17 songs on the album, something like that. So, 17.
And you wrote all 20 yourself, or did you co-write with some?
Jimmy and I worked on the music. I did the melodies. Renee and I worked on the lyrics.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Did Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis produce it again, Janet?
Yes, I should explain to you the way that they work. Since we've done Control, it's like you click with one or the other. That's the way they work. So each person will work with a different artist. So with Control, I worked with both of them. With Rhythm Nation, I worked more so with Jimmy. But since day one, Jimmy and I have really clicked. And there's a serious bond that the two of us really have, I do feel. Not to say that I don't have it with Terry, but I have it more so with Jimmy. So with the Janet album, Terry and I and Jimmy and Renee, we got together on just one song, which was The Body That Loves You. And with this album, it was myself, Jimmy, and Renee. And Terry was working with another artist. Like I have a female friend who's a singer, and he works with Terry all the time. So that's the person he always is in the studio with, and not Jimmy. So that's the way they work, but yet they'll both get credit because they're a team.
Who is the Renee you're speaking of?
Renee Elizondo, Elizondo.
Janet, I saw you over the weekend on an Old American Bandstand, and you told Dick Clark that you wanted to go to Pepperdine and study comedy.
How many times are they going to show that?
A million. By the way, this is Jay Kim from the Chicago Sun-Times.
Hi.
What are the odds that that's going to happen in the future? Are you going to go and learn to manage that $40 million fee?
I definitely want to go back to school. When, I don't know when I'll actually do it, but I still do. That's still in my heart.
Right.
That's something I wanted to do even back then, but I did things for other people and not for myself. So that's still something within me that I have to fulfill, I have to do for myself.
Part two would be, you had one of the first mega deals with Virgin. I think it was about $40 million or so. And so far there's been that one album on that deal. How's that deal panning out for you? Is there a lot of pressure for you to, fulfill that advance?
Well, since then I've done another deal, and that's with Virgin. To fulfill that advance, well, the way, if you really break it down, not to sound cocky in any way, but what the record company makes from your record sales is a lot more than what they give you. So I'm hoping that explains everything, really. They make a great amount of money. They're not dumb. The record company is not going to make a stupid deal and put their asses in some sort of a sling.
Right.
Ms. Jackson, how did you come up with the name Velvet Rope and why?
This album is about the need to feel special that I feel we all have. And the Velvet Rope, to me, means different things to different people. One example that I give is going to the nightclubs. the velvet ropes that they put up.
Right,
The people that are in the club versus the people that are outside the club wanting to get in, and they're being chosen.
Okay.
Those people that are inside the club, they feel like the shit. They're not the ones on the outside. They're like, yeah, we're special. We're in. We got in. You don't know if you're going to make it in. Then once those people are in, feeling so high, there's another velvet rope. There's this VIP section. When they look up, there's that other level. And yet they want to get into that section. But those people feel more special than the ones below.
Right.
I mean, there are different levels to it. This need to feel special. There are two sides, I feel. It could bring out a positive side in us or a negative side in us.
Okay.
We could do anything in this world for the right or wrong reasons. I mean, either we can be very nice and get our needs met and please other people, and that makes us feel special to bring smiles upon other people's faces, or we could be total assholes and put other people down, oppress them, just to lift ourselves up because we don't feel special, and that makes us feel special, but just for a split second it does.
Right. How did this soul-searching affect your relationship with Mr. Elizondo?
It's brought us closer together. He helped me so much through all of this. It was very painful. And I'm very thankful that Renee's a great man. He's a great person. I'm so thankful to have someone like him by my side.
He's a talented director.
Very talented, and that's just one side of him. I mean, he's just a smart guy. And I think anybody else would have said, you know what, I don't need this shit. I'm out of here. And people are so quick to do that in relationships. But he stuck it out with me. And that lets me see just a whole nother level, a whole nother side of of Renee. And to me, that's what relationships are about. People are so ready to quit when things get tough.
Right.
But if you say, you know what, I want to spend my life with this person, you got to get through those obstacles, and that's what makes it stronger in the end. It's a constant battle of these obstacles, and you have to really work at it, and it brings you close together in the end.
Okay. How did you decide to cover Rod Stewart's Tonight's the Night on the album?
Why did I decide?
Yeah, how did you come to do that one?
Renee and I, we were on our way to a restaurant, to our favorite restaurant in L.A., and we were just thinking, we hadn't even started the album yet, and we're just sitting, just talking about things, and just talking in general, and he said, you know what would be a cool song to do? And I said, what's that? And he said, Tonight's the Night by Rod Stewart. And it's one of my favorite songs. And then I just started singing it the way I thought it should be done. And I started just doing the rhythm, the beat with my mouth, and then just singing. He said, that sounds really cool to do it in that vein. And so when I got to Minneapolis, it was the first song that I did, and Jimmy and I put it down, and I sang it.
Wow. What about the Joni Mitchell sample? Did you have any input in that, or?
Actually, that was Jimmy's idea. And I'm a very big Joni Mitchell fan. My brother Randy, as a kid, he was such a big Joni Mitchell fan. He still is. But he's the one who got me into her. And when I heard the piece, I absolutely loved it, from Big Yellow Taxi. And it worked out really well. And I knew that I wanted a rapper to do something on the album, but exactly who, I hadn't thought about that until, or even what song, until I had completed Got Till It's Gone, and I thought of Q-Tip. And I thought it would really be cool to have him on this song, so I called him up, and he listened to it, and he loved it.
Janet, you'll be receiving the Lady of Soul Train Award next week, I hear. And since this award comes primarily from an African-American standpoint, how is getting this award different than receiving a Grammy or an American Music Award?
It means a lot to me. Not that the others don't, but this one really does mean a lot to me. When I was a kid, I'll tell you what, when I was a kid, I came to New York, and I saw Lena Horne on Broadway. I can't remember the name of her show. It was One Woman or The Woman or something like that.
About, right.
And I remember her talking about the pain, the struggle back then that she had to go through. Not just being black and what she had to do to make it in the industry, but also being among her peers and being a black woman but of lighter skin, and the difference that was made even there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so painful for her, and her struggle, it was so difficult. And I saw it in her face, the way she expressed herself. I heard it in her music and in her voice. And I'll never forget that. I think I was maybe about 13, 12, something like that. And this is the Lena Horne Lifetime Achievement Award.
Right.
And that's the first thing that entered my mind. The second thing that entered my mind was, wait, isn't this supposed to come later on in my life, not right now? But I keep forgetting that next year, this will be my 25th year in show business.
Exactly.
So that's the other part. I still feel like I just started yesterday. I mean, to think that Control was over 10 years ago,
Hard to believe.
It really is hard for me to believe. I mean, I recorded the album in '85 when I was 18, and it's really hard for me to believe.
Right.
I think you shocked a lot of people with Control.
Really?
Me for one, I was very surprised and pleased with that album. Is that really the turning point, you think, for you, or has it come yet?
It really was, because I was coming off of a show that I absolutely hated doing. I loved all the kids on the show, but
Are we talking about Fame?
Yes.
You didn't like Fame?
No, I didn't like doing it at all. Well, I didn't want to do. I wanted to go to college.
Okay.
I didn't want to do it, but I did it for my father.
Mm-hmm.
It's who I really did it for, and I wish I wouldn't have. But you know, who knows? I don't know how my life would have turned out. I don't know how things would have been different for me. I don't know. I'm sure they would have.
Right.
But I was button heads left and right with the producers. I didn't like them. I don't think they were too fond of me either, and I didn't care. And I was in a marriage that was really sucking at that time. It was very difficult.
Very good choice of words, too.
And I just wanted out. I just wanted out, and I wanted to sit back and think about what I wanted to do finally for myself. And I just wanted to get out of the house. I wanted to get out from under my father, which was one of the most difficult things that I had to do, telling him that I didn't want to work with him again. And just telling my story up to that point, really, from about 16 to 18 years old.
So how did you hook up with Jimmy Jam Terry Lewis?
Well, one of the A&R guys, the head of A&R at A&M, we were talking about different producers to work with, and he brought up their name, and they came to L.A., and they were playing me some songs that they had just done on Patty Austin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here going, I really like this, but God, this is not what I had in mind. And they said, but no, we weren't thinking about doing something like this for you. And we were thinking about doing something a little different. And I'm going, okay, well, they seem to be cool guys, really cool guys. And I said, well, you know what, I'll go ahead and give it a try and see how it, pans out. I went to Minneapolis, and we were from two different worlds. I mean, I was so sheltered and very quiet and really shy back then, and they were constantly cursing, and I was thinking, these guys are the nastiest guys I've ever met in my life. I actually called the A&R guy and said, you know what, I want to come home. We just are not gelling. I said, they curse every 2 seconds. I started charging them, actually, 25 cents for every word. So I raked up in the end. But something clicked, and we I don't know. They would even call me things like, yeah, bitch, gone. That's the way I'm thinking, bitch. I was so mad. You don't know, one day I actually finished the song and just left the studio. I never said goodbye. I was so upset. And I came to realize that's just the way they express themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're a lot different now. They're much more mature, and they're a lot different. I came to realize that's just the way. They don't mean any harm.
Right.
We just grew up differently from different worlds. That's all, and it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love them. That they're not only great producers, but they're just great human beings.
Does the new album have more of an urban feel to it? Because it seems like there are more samples. That you sample Ward, Cisco Kid, and Archie Bell and the Drells.
Well, I've always used samples, even with Rhythm Nation and the stuff that I did with that song, Sly and the Family Stone. Just always using Kool and the Gang for You Want This. Just always using different samples. I've always done. It just so happens that this album does have more of an urban feel. That's what I was feeling at this moment in my life. That's the direction that I wanted to go in.
Are you going to tour behind the record?
Yes, next year.
Well, and how do you get in shape for those tours?
Yeah. Working out. Just, you mean physical?
Mm-hmm.
Working out. It's so funny because I'm sitting up here and I shouldn't even be telling you guys this, just stinking. I just came from downstairs from working out right now, so I didn't even have time to shower or anything. But all the dancers are here with me.
Are you in LA now?
No, I'm in New York.
Okay.
And we work out 2.5 hours, 6 days a week.
Wow.
So that's really what it's about. And it gets difficult at times trying to be consistent, and that's the most important thing aside from the diet, your diet.
Will you be working with Tina Landon again?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you doing your first single on the MTV Video Awards next week?
No.
Are you performing at all? Or?
No, I'm not performing. I'm just presenting an award.
What's the first single, and when will it be released?
Got Till It's Gone, and it's to be released September 4th, the day of the award.
Repeat that again for me.
I'm sorry?
Repeat that again, the name of the single.
Got Till It's Gone.
Okay, cool.
Now, Janet, this is Erica Salter. I'm with the Cincinnati Herald.
Hi.
And I heard the single this morning on our local radio station, WIZF The Wiz. And
You did?
Yes, they did the world premiere of Miss Jackson.
Okay, cool, great.
And it was different from most of the stuff I've heard you do. And I'm trying to figure out like how you came about combining rap with Joni Mitchell and then your melodies at the same time, and how difficult that was to do that.
Well, it wasn't difficult at all. It was just, like I said, after completing the song, and like I said before, Jimmy brought Joni Mitchell to the table sampling Big Yellow Taxi. I love Tip's voice. It's very recognizable. I love the way he raps. He's real just laid back and chilled, and it seemed to fit the song and fit the melody that I had come up with, and how laid back my vocals are on the track. And I was just thankful that he liked the song enough, to do something on it.
So how have you been keeping yourself busy? What are some of the things that you enjoy doing in your spare time when you're not busy recording and working out?
That I enjoy doing, I love to read. I love to watch The Three Stooges.
Me too.
You do?
Yeah.
Were you a tomboy growing up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think all of us were.
That's really funny. Someone said the other day that if you love the Three Stooges and you're a girl, you must have been a tomboy.
Yep.
Because
Women hate the Three Stooges.
my
Women.
sister Latoya, oh my God, that is so silly. That is so stupid. How could you guys watch that? Wasn't it hilarious? So I got a ton of tapes here because I totally forgot all my tapes from home. And I've been watching the Three Stooges at night. That's how I unwind.
Oh, God, I love them. I almost hit my uncle in the head with a hammer when I was a kid because of the Three Stooges.
Oh, my God.
Janet, will you be doing any more films as an actress?
We've definitely been talking about it. I just got an offer not that long ago, and I don't know if it's going to pan out. Because they're supposed to start in November, and, I'm right at the beginning of the album, so we'll see how things work out. And there's talk of doing something else at the end of the tour. So.
In the stages.
Would you are you still interested in doing the Dorothy Dandridge story?
Yes, I don't think that's ever going to go away with me. I'm not in a rush. I'm not going to get in a race of any kind with any of the other women out there that want to do it as well. I'm going to take my time, and if they do it before I do, then so be it.
It's kind of scary. I was watching Carmen Jones about a month ago, and in some angles, you are a dead ringer for her.
Oh, wow. Well, that's such a compliment. Thank you, because I think she's absolutely beautiful, so thank you very much. But I have the rights to the book that she wrote, which is the one that I've always been interested in, and the one that I've always wanted. And that's what I want to do. I'm not going to do it. Obviously, I can't do it now, and it takes several years to develop a project like that. And I'm just going to take my time with it.
Okay. Are you going to be on the Joni Mitchell tribute album?
Yes, she asked me to do it, and I was really honored that she had asked me, and I asked her if anyone had done Beat of Black Wings, which is my favorite song. So I did it. And I hope she likes it. I don't know if she's heard it yet.
Janet, what is more fulfilling for you, dancing, acting, or music?
That's really hard to say. I think it's between dancing and not dancing, music and acting.
Really?
Even though I apologize for this phone ringing.
That's okay.
Even though it's really hard for me to say.
Janet, this is Charmaine Roberts with the Washington Times.
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to ask you said you're in New York now with dancers?
Yes.
And I wanted to find out, are you working on a specific project?
Well, actually, we're rehearsing for the PA tour for Europe. So we've been auditioning. We had a big audition in L.A., and we were looking for 2 guys. So we came to New York to try and find 2 guys, and we have a couple of guys in mind that we liked. And we have to start rehearsing for the PA tour, which I don't leave till September 13th, but the week that I'm supposed to rehearse, the week before September 13th, it's kind of hectic, so I have to do it when I have the time, so.
You lost Omar? He's not dancing with you anymore?
No, he's not going to be dancing this time.
Okay.
Have you,
Too bad.
You must be attracted to Omar.
No.
You like the way he dances?
I like the way he dances, and I think you two complemented each other well.
Thank you very much. Omar's a great guy, and he's a very good dancer.
Okay.
But he's with Salt and Pepper. I kept the girls.
You still have Tish?
4 of the girls. No, I kept Nikki, Sean, Kelly, Sean the girl, Kelly, and Tina.
Okay.
And there'll be different guys this time.
Okay.
What does Anthony Thomas do?
I'm sorry?
Anthony Thomas, this is Carolyn Beverly in San Antonio with the San Antonio Informer.
Hi. Anthony Thomas. I heard the name Anthony Thomas, but I didn't hear the question.
Is he not with you anymore?
No, the last time Anthony and I worked together was for the Rhythm Nation project.
Right.
Yeah. He's still choreographing, though, I hear. I haven't seen him in a long time.
I interviewed him in the show that you did in Austin.
Oh, okay.
Who's your musical director on the tour?
My musical director will probably be, the reason why I'm laughing is I call him my nephew now because he married one of my nieces. It's Rex Salas. He was the musical director for the Janet tour, and he was one of the musicians on the Rhythm Nation tour.
Janet, who are some of the artists that you listen to?
You mean from the music that they play today, or just in general?
Just in general. Who are some of your favorites?
My favorites are Jovan, which is a Brazilian jazz artist, João Gilberto, which is Brazilian jazz. I love listening to Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. I love listening to Stan Getz, Chet Baker, Dave Brubeck. I love jazz.
Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker.
My favorite.
I love Charlie Parker. Coltrane.
Oh, yeah,
John
Coltrane.
Yes. As far as people of today, I enjoy listening to Aaliyah. I enjoy listening to Little Kim. She's really cute to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's really cute to me. I enjoy listening to Genuine, Backbone, D'Angelo.
Janet, this is Jay Kim from the Sun Times again. With the success of the women artists in the Lilith Fair, would you like to spearhead some sort of movement for dance music or urban music, some sort of festival like that where you would be the main attraction?
You know, I've never thought about that. I wouldn't mind it at all. I think it would be a lot of fun to do something like that. I never thought about that.
Janet, I understand that you hired a new manager. Is that true? And if so, why?
John and Quadri?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
They work with Boys to Men, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually did. Roger Davis was my manager before, and unfortunately, oh gosh, he was having his stress level was way too high, and the doctor told him he should slow down a little bit. So we decided to part. Is really what it was, especially going into a project. And I like having a person with me all the time. And there's just so much involved when we go on tour. It's like once we start, it's nonstop. There are artists that'll tour, but that'll come out with an album won't support the project by touring, so it makes it a little easier on the manager. And touring is very grueling. And I can get pretty demanding at times. So it would be really hard for him. So I had to find someone else.
Okay.
Yeah, more from the Amsterdam News in New York. Hello?
Hi.
Hi. I was listening to you talk earlier in the conference about balancing and bouncing back from the pains and things that you've endured. And I was curious, if you could write a prescription for young women who have that same kind of struggle to maintain the inner and outer beauty, what would that prescription have?
To maintain inner and outer beauty?
Yes, to bring it out.
Excuse me. I think it's, oh God, there are a few different things. I think it's important to have a balance, to not be, it's much easier said than done, to not be too obsessive, to not be too black or white. There has to be some gray area. You have to give time for yourself, do the things that you need to do.
I guess what I'm looking at, I'm sorry, does it involve meditation? Does it involve a beauty regimen? Does it, those kinds of things that you could pull together to really nurture yourself?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Purchasable things, huh?
Yes.
For myself, there was a time when I did meditate. Did it help? Yes, it did. When I really felt really overwhelmed and really stressed out, I would take, I started off with 20 minutes, then it grew into 30, then 45. Focusing on something that's as peaceful as the ocean, or a brook, or the rainforest, and visualizing yourself being there. I think it's important to take that time out for yourself. I think it in the end, it helped me to realize that I can continue. I felt that I could move on, that I could tackle what was to come, as opposed to feeling so overwhelmed where you just say, that's it, I don't want to hear anything else, I need to take a big break.
What about the physical side, like cucumbers on the eyes? Like that?
I've never done that. I think it's important to work out. I really do. I think that's a big stress reliever, too. We do an hour of cardiovascular a day and an hour and a half of lifting. And it gets you into great physical shape, aside from releasing a lot of stress. And you have more energy in the end, believe it or not. I mean, when you first get going, you might be a little tired. But after a while, you have more energy than when you... The hardest thing to do is to get your butt out of the bed and make yourself do it.
That's true. Janet,
yes?
This is Shayna Peterson again. I've actually seen you in concert 4 times myself. I was wondering, on this new tour, is there a different type of theme you're going to have for the tour? What are you going to look for?
Well, I haven't even really thought about that yet.
Okay.
Because it's not till next year.
Okay.
And the only thing that I've done as far as the tour goes is called up the guys to make sure that they were available and to keep their schedules open if they want to go. And just audition drummers.
Okay.
Is all that I've done so far.
All right, Janet, do you consider yourself a spiritual person? Do you have a belief in God or?
Yes, I do believe in God. I'm not a religious person. I don't go to church every Sunday. Or growing up, I grew up under the Jehovah's Witness religion, or the truth, as they call it. And when I was 18, I discontinued going, and I am more of a spiritual person. For myself, it's important for me to have more of a one-on-one relationship with God.
Okay.
That's just the way that I am. Some people need to go every Thursday, every Tuesday, every Sunday, because they need that, what do you call it, that
the
fellowship. Yeah, in their lives, that there's a word. I validation. Not validation, but they need something to keep them on track. They need to stay in line because they'll swing in the other direction. So they need.
Right. Some people need that laws and rules,
that guidance,
regulations.
Right. And I think that's great for those who need it. But for those who don't and can just deal with of having a one-on-one or going once a week or once a month, then I think that's cool too. Whatever the person needs. And that's the one thing that was hard for me, because if you missed a day of going to the Kingdom Hall one day, they call you up and say, "Sister, you weren't at the such and such. What's going on?" As if you're falling away from the truth, from the religion. But it's like sometimes you just need time for yourself, need to think about things, need to, Right. So I think whatever works for that person.
Okay.
Right.
Janet, you've done songs about tolerance and acceptance of other people, and I wondered if that was something that you worked for outside of your recordings.
Acceptance from other people?
Accepting people and tolerating different lifestyles and that kind of thing.
For me, accepting people.
No, is that something that you work for outside of your songs?
I apologize. I'm still not quite getting your question.
Well, you've done songs about being tolerant and accepting other people.
Right.
And I just wondered if you were involved in any organizations or any work outside of your career to help in the tolerance of other people and that kind of thing.
There are different organizations that I've belonged to, but as far as tolerance and accepting other people, I still might not be understanding your question. I apologize.
Well, what kind of organizations are you involved with?
United Negro College Fund, I've been involved with for years. Spelman College, Make-A-Wish, which is a terminally ill organization for children. Starlight, Dream Street, Dream Factory, the Watts Willowbrook organization, a place called Home in South Central, AIDS, the AIDS Ride, different organizations.
Again, did you write most of the songs on the new album yourself, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Janet, this is Josh Dulak at Sacramento Bee. I'm wondering, your album's coming out at a kind of an interesting time in the music market. You've got Babyface's Soul Food soundtrack, a Boyz II Men album coming out the same day. Mariah Carey and R. Kelly are also releasing records. Do you feel like, that there's room for all of those albums to do what's expected of them?
Yeah, I think there's room for all of us. I really do. I mean, we can all be competitive, and we all want that same goal, that position to have a very successful album. I think there's enough room for everybody in the end. I really do.
Janet, how long do you plan to continue being in the entertainment business? And when this is all over and done with, what do you hope to have accomplished?
I'll be here for as long as I continue to grow. the minute I stop growing and I have nothing else left to give, then I'm out, really.
Okay.
I'd like to just bring happiness to people's lives, and basically that's really it. Happiness and some sort of peace within themselves.
Janet, this is Larry Jackson, Portland Observer, Portland, Oregon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Question. How have you really felt like you had an opportunity? You have been, like you mentioned earlier, in show business for 25 years, which is basically your entire lifetime. And you've had the leadership of not only your star brother, but your father, who's guided that whole career. Have you really had a sabbatical long enough to feel like you had a chance to figure out who Janet really is, what she really wants out of life for the other 50 years that you hope to be here? You've been guided and pushed and contracted through basically all of your life. It's unusual for a person to have been in business for 25 years and not have had a chance to really stand back and say, who am I and what do I want to be?
I think that question really came about with control. Like I was saying, what do I want to do? And to stop doing things for other people. Is it more so today than ever? Yes, especially with what I had gone through since the last album, of finding out who I really am. Yes. My own personal struggles, my pain. It's been a difficult time, and I'm still walking through that. I'm not over it, but I feel that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I feel like I'm seeing a little bit of light as opposed to just nothingness.
That's good. Let me add to that, and I'll discuss someone else. What I guess I'm also saying is that part of doing an album like Control and now Velvet Rope is all like part of what you have to do contractually to continue to put out albums and continue to speak through music. Do you feel like there are any other goals out there that are outside of what you do or have done to meet contractual obligations and that are really you as you discover who you really are?
Other goals to meet my contractual obligations?
Yeah.
I will, if I'm understanding you correctly, like I said, I know I will continue to grow. I mean, I have a lot ahead of me. I'm 31. My life will continue to evolve, and I will continue to write about it, whatever it may be. Hopefully, people will get something out of it, which is what I want more so than anything. That's first and foremost.
Janet, there are probably a lot of people out in music land who look at you and think, well, she's a beautiful woman, she's a wealthy woman, she's a famous woman. What kind of pain could she possibly have endured? What kind of problems could she have had? How would you answer someone like that who doesn't know what it's like to grow up in a famous family?
Well, for one, just because you have money doesn't mean that you're happy.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that all your problems go away. The way that I feel and things that I've heard, it's even worse. Just because someone else thinks that you're beautiful, you may not feel beautiful. You may feel like the ugliest person on this earth. You may feel very fraudulent. Growing up in such a huge family and with them having such great success, you may not feel worthy. You may feel worthless.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that have come up, and these are feelings that I've had. And just because someone thinks that you're beautiful, there was a song on this album that I actually took off. And sometimes I sit back and I wonder, should I have left it on or not? It's called God's Stepchild, and it explains a lot of things. But there's another song on the album called Special, which kind of sums everything up. So that's why I took God's Stepchild off, and it talks about all of that, learning to pretend and not feeling pretty, and having this pain and wishing someone could hear it when I was a kid. But I hid it. There were so many other things. I mean, you have to think about it. There are 9 people in my family.
Right.
My mother had to raise 9 children. Yes, my father was there, but not often. And somebody's going to get left out.
Right.
I'm not saying I'm the person that was left out, but you can't. She only has so much time and energy and love to give to every child. She did her best, and I think she did a hell of a job. But that's a lot of kids.
Right.
And there are going to be more than one child that's going to need you at that moment.
Right.
So somebody's going to get raw into the deal, and it happens. And it's just part of life. You know.
Did it take you a while to finally come to terms with yourself that you are beautiful and that you are talented? Did that take a long process?
No,
Are you still working on that?
I'm still working on it. I really am. Several journalists have asked me in the past, where do you rate yourself as far as beauty? And I would always tell them that I think I'm okay. I'm fair. If there's a lineup, I'm fair. I'm all right.
Okay.
And honestly, the reason why I said that, because I felt if I really told them the truth, they'd say, "Oh, come on, you're bullshitting us." Because there are girls who do things just to get attention so they can get that adulation. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I didn't want them to think that I was one of those girls.
Sure.
So I was giving myself such a compliment by saying I thought I was okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
When I really felt that I was guys, I would look in the mirror and sometimes I would just sit and cry because I didn't like myself at all. And I felt very ugly. And I never felt attractive at all. I never felt sexy at all. And these are things that I'm working through. Now, I can honestly sit here and say today, I really do think I'm okay. I really do think I'm okay looking. And I'm getting better at it. Before, I used to just look and I saw ugliness. And I wished I looked like someone else all the time. Like, God, I wish I was that pretty. Or, God, I wish I had a body like that. Or, God, and we always want what we can't have.
Funny there.
Just one last thing. What did you have fun, or what did you enjoy most while you were away? What did you have the most fun doing?
While I was away?
Yeah.
Well,
between albums.
Away? Oh, in between albums?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? Jeez. That's really hard because it was an in between albums. It was a real struggle with myself. I mean, it seemed like my days were getting worse and worse. It was really hard, guys. The only thing I can really say is times when my friends came over and we, just did nothing. But there were times when they even came over and I had to walk away because I was fine when I would talk to them on the phone and say, let's all get together and do something. But by the time they got to the house, I was just so down in the dumps. And I didn't want to bring them down that I would have to walk away. I'd go upstairs and I'd cry, and I'd have to get it out. I'd have to let it go because the pain would just come up like that from one hour to the next or a few hours to the next hour. It was that difficult for me. So I really can't say what was the most fun in between albums.
Janet, this is Edmund Lewis with the Louisiana Weekly. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Listen, when everyone goes home, when the lights go off, who's Janet Jackson?
Who am I?
Yeah.
I feel that I am a courageous person. I feel that I'm a very giving person. And I'm a person who loves to love and who wants to be loved.
What's the most difficult lesson you've had to learn about the entertainment industry?
The most difficult lesson would be the ones you think are your friends but who really aren't.
Is it true what they say about L.A.? A friend in L.A. is someone who stabs you in the chest?
Oh my God, I never heard that one before. It gets real pretentious at times. But that's how this business is.
How difficult is it for you to find true friends? Do you have a small circle that you've had for a long time? Or?
For a long time. Like, for instance, I've known Renee since I was 16, Tina since I was about 18. I don't have a lot of friends, but my true friends since junior high school, and they've been there for me through the good and the bad. And I've tried to do the same for them. And those are my true friends.
Are you able to maybe slip around and go get an ice cream cone? Is it easy for you to kind of go out incognito, or are you almost always recognized?
I really don't go out incognito, and people feel that I do because sometimes I wear a baseball cap and sunglasses. But that I like wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses.
Yeah.
But you get spotted. The best time I ever had, though, was was it Halloween? Halloween here in New York, the huge parade that they have. And I totally dressed up, so I had on a mask, and I walked around like everyone else did.
Huh. What was your costume?
Oh, God, I threw something together. I had on a witch mask. I put these fake titties on, these really big boobs, and I had this really big butt, and I had on like a monk's top, so I was just a combination of
Interesting. Have you gotten on the internet at all? Are you
I love the internet.
Computer freak?
Am I an internet junkie?
Yes.
I absolutely love the internet. I like talking to the kids in the chat room.
Right. How involved are you with the Friends of Janet? Because I must say that I should be having a piece coming out soon with Friends of Janet. So how much are you actually involved with that?
Very much involved. Everything goes through me before. I'm the one to approve everything that goes out. Whatever letters are to be written, no one writes them for me. I write them. The ones that are to be written by me. Figuring out who should be interviewed next for the newsletters. Helping them come up with ideas for the... I think it's important as opposed to letting someone else do it and have it. I mean, it's your fan club, and I think it's important to get involved as opposed to letting someone else do it.
Right.
It gets difficult at times because you have so many other things on your plate, but that's just as important. I mean, it's for the kids, it's for the people that enjoy what you do and want to know more about you.
Okay, well, that's good to know. My name is Shana Peterson, so look out for my piece, and I hope you approve of it.
Okay.
Hey, when you see yourself on reruns of Good Times, what do you think?
Good
That's
question.
still running?
I was young.
Yes.
Edmund Lewis at Louisiana Weekly.
Hi. How time flies. How young I was.
You still do that Mae West impression?
Do I still do that?
Yeah.
No, I haven't done that since then.
Okay.
Did you take any acting lessons at all, or acting classes?
No, I didn't. You know, I took 2 or 3, and that was it.
You're just a natural then, I guess.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Janet, how saddened were you by Tupac's death?
I was I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. You know how when things keep rewinding in your head, you just can't believe that it has happened? It just seemed like a dream to me. And the weird thing about it is I remember being on the set and Pac asking me, how old do I want to be when I die? And I looked at him, I said, well, that's a crazy question. What do you mean? He goes, I want to know, how long do you want to live? And I said, God, as long as God will allow me to live. My grandfather was 100 and something when he died, 101 or 2. And I told him I feel very blessed if I could make it that far. And I said, okay, well, since you asked the question, what about you? And he started shaking his head. I said, well, what do you mean? You don't want to answer the question? He goes, no, I don't want to grow old on this earth. I said, oh, come on, Pac. He said, no, I want to die young. I want to die in my 20s.
Wow.
And I hadn't thought about that until the day he passed away. And when I think about it now, I sit and at first I believed him, but I don't believe him now. I feel that Tupac had a certain image, and he was playing that up because Pac was a really good-hearted person and a good kid deep inside, and I don't think he wanted to die. That was just part of the tough guy image that he had, and he was playing it to the hilt. And a great actor.
He was very talented.
Yeah, that was just starting to really unfold for him, and I think it's a great loss.
How do you think his death and Notorious B.I.G.'s death have affected the music industry?
I don't. They say it has to do with people within the industry. I mean, some don't know if it's West Coast, East Coast stuff. It's really frightening that it's gotten to that, if that's what it is. Music should bring joy into people's lives. It should be a release for people. My opinion, I think it's cool for people to be talking about their lives. I think it's cool to tell, all the pain that they've gone through, how difficult it was for them, and whether it's gat this, that, whatever. But I think it's important for them to say, look, don't take that route. You need to do this. Don't live the way I did. And steer these kids in another direction. That's what I think is really important. I think it's okay for them to tell their stories, but tell the kids that that's not cool. You don't want to take that route. And that's what I love so much about Tip. They're very positive about Chuck D and those guys.
Right.
That's what I love so much about EPMD. And I think kids are ready to hear that now more so than ever. They're looking for it now.
Would you say since they've died, would you say there's been like a change in the way rap music has been represented over the past couple of months? Just like, since you're saying Q-Tip and Chuck D and like KRS-One, they're starting to come out with different kinds of rap music.
Well, those guys have always done that.
Right.
But
now it's kind of like more in the forefront now.
Yeah, and I think it has gotten more positive because no one knows where this was really coming from. If it is within the music industry or if it is East Coast, West Coast thing. So people are scared. A lot of people are scared. So I think they are becoming more positive as far as what they're talking about, what they're saying to the kids. And I think it's good. I think that's real good.
Well, what do you think about the fact that Puffy Combs seems to have merged from all of this murder as the producer of the day?
Wait, say that one more time. I apologize.
Well, Puff Daddy seems to have become the record producer of the day.
Yeah, it seems like he has a new video every week.
Yeah, and you just kind of wonder because, I mean, he's like, one of the ones left after all of this murder that's gone on in the gangster rap community.
Sometimes I wonder. In total honesty, he's doing really well. He seems to know what the kids want, and they're loving it, and good for him. But I was very cynical in the beginning, I must say. I would sit back and say, okay, how much pain is he really in? It seems like he's taken this and ran with it. Like the death of Biggie. And there's a part of me that wondered if it was really real. You know what I mean?
Because the videos seem to come out so quick. And
yeah, and it's like he's throwing them out one after the other. Or if this is his way of squashing the pain. I don't know. But being the sort of cynic that I can be, I wondered, and I'm sure like a lot of other people have wondered. And only he knows that, and God within his own heart. You know what I mean? Only he can answer that question. But I hope it is real, and not using that to elevate himself.
Janet, what was your reaction to being nominated for an Academy Award?
Oh, God, are you kidding? I remember being in Chicago on tour in the hotel, and my assistant at the time, Aisha, I was so knocked out, Renee and I both, and she came in the room, and she said, Janet, guess what? And I said, what happened? The first thing I thought was, oh my God, something's happened to Mother. And she said, you got nominated for an Oscar. And I just could not stop screaming. I couldn't believe it. It was a dream come true. It's something that I've always wanted as a kid.
You looked a little bit nervous when you were performing.
Oh, please. Are you kidding? That's not even the word. Oh, my God. You know, I got up there, and I saw so many people I knew.
Right.
And then you see, you know, being in this business, a lot of people would think, okay, well, they're cool with one another being entertainers.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in awe of the next person just as much as someone who's not in this business.
Sure.
So, you know, I sat next to Al Pacino, who I love.
Oh, boy.
And I'm looking at all these different people going, oh, my God. Oh, I love that film. Oh, my God, she's the shit. I'm thinking, and then all of a sudden I got cotton mouth. And I had no saliva.
Oh, no.
And my throat was hurting me. And I was like, just, God, please just get me through this. And I was trying to swallow, and it hurt. And I was just a mess. And I was hating myself in the end. I was thinking, God, you did horribly.
Oh, you did fine. You just looked nervous. That's all.
I was very nervous.
On a normal basis, did you get nervous before performances?
No. I did the very first show, though. For the Rhythm Nation tour, I did. But no, not after that.
Any plans to collaborate with your brothers at all on anything?
No, we haven't. We haven't spoken about it at all.
Mm-hmm. How are your nephews doing? I know they had a single out.
3T. Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Yeah.
Especially over in Europe. Oh, they're doing really great.
It was rumored that they were supposed to attend the University of Pennsylvania. Is that true, or is that still in the works for them to attend college in Pennsylvania?
You know, I never heard that.
Okay.
So I know they were attending school in L.A.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't know if they've just taken a break for right now or if they're back in school or not.
Okay, the album was great, so you could pass that on and tell them that they're doing a good job.
Thank you very much.
Anna, were you angered at all by the way Michael's been treated by the press? I mean, especially, you know, since the History Project, or, you know, when the History Project came out, a lot of the reviews really praised your performance in Scream, but took him to task and then, you know, started psychoanalyzing him. And
well, you know what? I've decided with this project that I'm not going to talk about my brother anymore. Mm-hmm. That's just something that I'm doing for myself. But I will say this. I think a lot of people were just waiting to tear him down. Here you have the guy who has the biggest selling records in history. People are there to help you out, to put you, you know, when you're the underdog. And once you make it, a lot of them, they're tugging at your ankles to yank you down. And they're trying to help up the next person. So the minute they got a chance, I feel, to put brother and sister, you know, against one another, and to say that one did better than the other, that was their chance, and I feel a lot of people took advantage of it, and then maybe some really felt that way about it, but yeah, he's taken a lot, and from a lot of people in the industry, and I think he's brought some of it upon himself too. In all honesty, I love my brother. I think he's a wonderful person, and he's been in this business since he was a kid, and it's difficult at times. It's real difficult, and especially nobody stays on top.
Does that worry you? I mean, before an album comes out, do you kind of wonder, is this album going to, you know, do as well as the last one?
No, I don't. When I'm writing, I don't think about that. I think about pleasing myself and getting across what I need to what I feel to express. Once it's done, I hope that the people like it. You never know. Of course, I would like for it to be more successful than the last project, but you never know. I mean, this might not do well at all for me. All I can say is I've done the best that I could possibly do at this moment in my life, and hopefully they will like it, you know.
Well, this is Ramon Bain, and we have time for maybe one or two more questions. I'd like to thank Ms. Jackson for being on the teleconference call this morning. I'd like to thank all of you for being on as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who has not asked a question of Ms. Jackson who would like to at this time?
Yes, Christopher Wings, the Atlanta Inquirer. Ms. Jackson, you recently received an award from the L.A. Spelman Alumni Chapter for being a role model. I was wondering, could you speak briefly about what being a role model entails to you? And also, is there a possibility we'll see you here in Atlanta at Spelman one day?
At Spelman? You mean attending?
Yes.
Like I said, I do want to go back to school. Where I'll go, I haven't thought about that. When I'll go, I haven't thought about that either. As far as accepting the award, Spelman is a very prestigious college, and it was an honor for me to be honored by Spelman. As far as being a role model, is it easy? No, because for myself, I try to stay true to myself, and that's what makes it so hard. Oh, God. Yet, having a positive message, and if there are certain things that I do want to do that might not be so positive to it. For instance, I guess what I'm getting at is when I did the Janet album, I had an adult come up to me and said, "Oh, no, what are you doing? Now you're telling our kids to have sex." They said, what happened to let's wait a while? And I said, well, how long do you want me to wait? I'm almost 30. So that's what makes it so difficult, because I'm being true to myself. I talked about let's wait a while. Then I said someday is tonight, thinking, okay,
Right.
it's coming soon. It's coming out. And then I eventually did it. But how long do they want me to wait? And that's what makes it so difficult. It's a really fine line, because you want to be very positive and speak of positive things, and at the same time be true to myself and what I've discovered. I like to talk about those things. So it's a real fine line, and it's not an easy thing.
Well, Janet, what advice would you give for young girls? You have quite a big following of preteen, early teen girls. What kind of advice would you give them?
They must know. They must know, and try to see this, that they are special. They are very special. Everyone is. And I feel that we are all born special. And they must learn to love themselves. It's much easier said than done. Mm-hmm. They must look inward and deal with their issues. I think that's what gets us into a lot of trouble. Whether it's not having enough love as kids, and maybe I've heard other kids say they want to have a baby because they want that feeling of someone needing them, that love. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, that's because they didn't get it enough from their parents. Mm-hmm. So they have to ask themselves why. Why am I doing this? Because that's not an easy thing to do. That's not and still being a child themselves, and yet wanting to raise a child.
Right.
And then regretting it. A lot of kids do once they have the child.
And the cycle starts over and over with that child.
Exactly. It's that same mold. But to break it, they've got to look inward and just really think about it and ask themselves certain questions, and then try to overcome that in whatever way they possibly can. Whether it's counseling of some sort, or getting with a group within the community and talking about it, or going to an elder, someone who they really trust. Sometimes it's best going to someone outside of your family. It's much easier for a lot of people to talk to someone aside from your parents. But if you have that relationship with your parents, then that's even better. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's the advice that I would give. And it's a doable thing. It's not an easy thing, but it's a doable thing, and they can do it if they really want it.
Do you feel you had that kind of relationship with your mom?
You know, I didn't, and my mother and I were close, but we are so much closer today, and I do have that relationship. I've told my mother things this year that she didn't know I was going through when I was younger, and it was so painful for me to tell her. I mean, I was sobbing over the phone. But you know how good that felt for me to finally tell her, and how good she must have felt knowing that I could confide in her like this. And she's always said to me, baby, don't ever be afraid to tell me something. But because of the religion, and also afraid, even though no one's supposed to judge one another, you know you are being judged.
Sure.
And because of the religion, I thought she would ask certain things of me that I just wasn't ready to do. I couldn't do. So I would keep certain things to myself and deal with it on my own. And that's not the way to go about life. That's not the way to go through life. So I'm so happy that I've told her a lot of the things that have troubled me and that I've wanted to tell her for so long. And we are so much closer today than we were before.
That's great. That's great.
And she's been so understanding, too, and very loving.
Well, Janet, again, I personally would like to thank you for taking this time out to do this for everyone who was on the conference line. My final question is, give one word or phrase to describe yourself.
Work in progress. I think.
Great. Good.
Well, we
Thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good luck on the tour.
Thank
Love
you
you,
very
Janet.
much.
I'll be coming out to see you.
Okay.
And Janet, you are sincere. It does leak through.
Thank you very much.
Leak through.
I think it's what makes you who you are. This is Larry, Portland.
Thank you, guys. You're kind of making me blush.
Oh.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Hope to see you soon.
Okay.
We will.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
Who's on the phone?
This is Carolyn from San Antonio.
Hello?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. This is who?
Carolyn from San Antonio. Who are you?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, I can't hang up. Who is this?
Is this someone with Janet Jackson?
No.
Oh.
I'm with the San Antonio Informer here in San Antonio. Who are you with? Hello?